The air was thick and tense as your mother paced nervously in the grand living room. The sand layer above seems to cast a judgmental light of everything beneath it. Your sister Aries sat quietly, her fingers nervously twisting the hem of her dress. Mom, sit straight, Aries. We can't afford any mistakes. Mistakes. That was you could think of as the heavy wooden door swing open, and a line of black swordsmen enter. The room seems to shrink, and your heart rests. You had known they are coming, but the famous John family, but seeing them in person was something else. They moved like shadows, calm, calculated. At the front of their patriarch, Jung Sung-woo, his silver hair swept back, a charmed expression curved into his face. Behind him were his sons, include the eldest, Taeyang, for whom this marriage proposal was ended. But your eyes weren't on Taeyang. They were on the boy who stood just behind them, trying to maintain the air of distance but failing to hide that spark in his dark, dangerous eyes. Jeon Jungkook, the same Jeon Jungkook who had been a distant figure in your life, someone you weren't supposed to notice but you couldn't help but be drawn to. You had met him only a handful of times at quiet gathering and crowd event, but every look he gave you seems to linger longer it should. Today he looked different, colder, distant, but his gaze still found yours. For a brief second, a silent conversation passed between you two, your chest tight. As a joint family exchanged pleasantry with your parents, you tried to keep your focus on anything but Jungkook, but it was impossible. Taeyang, you must be Ryan. Taeyang's voice smooth, drove you out of your thoughts. He was polite, charmed even, but your smile was a forced one. Ryan, yes, and this is my sister Eri. You managed feeling Jungkook's gaze burn into you even when you didn't look. The talk went down. On exchange of family values and promises, everything seems perfect. At place for everyone else, but as you exhaust yourself pretending to flick something from the kitchen, a quiet voice stops you in the empty hallway. Jungkook, you look more nervous than your sister. You turned sharply, and he was Jungkook. His face was unreadable, but his voice was softer now. Why do you care? Jungkook, because he leaned in silently. His voice was dangerous whisper. Jungkook, you are not the only one who thinks this whole thing is mistake. Your heart skipped a bit. Before you could respond, you heard footsteps approaching, and Jungkook stepped back. His expression turned back to stone. And just like that, he was gone, a fleeting shadow once more. But the heat of his words stayed with you, burning brighter than ever. You leaned against the cold marble counter in the kitchen, your finger grabbing the edge of you try to calm your racing heart. Seeing Jungkook after long this time, after everything that happened between you two, was like reopening an old wound. You took a deep breath, stretched yourself, and forced your emotion down. This wasn't the time your family needed you to be poised, especially with the Jeons here. Just as you were about to return to the living room, you hear low voices just beyond the door. Carefully, you lean closer. Jungkook, are you sure about this, Taeyang? Taeyang, yes, father thinks it's a good match. Ari is sweet and our families will benefit. Jungkook, and what about Ryan? Taeyang, Ryan is Ari's sister. Jungkook, that's all. I don't know. You still care? Jungkook, I don't. Jungkook's voice was cold, a lie so obvious it twisted your heart. The door suddenly opened, and you barely stepped back in time, pretending you had just arrived. Taeyang, when? Is everything alright? When? Yes, just needed some fresh air. Jungkook's gaze met yours, his expression unreadable, but the storm in his eyes was clear. Taeyang, well, they are discussing the final arrangements. It seems everything is going perfectly. When perfectly, you again your eyes hollow. The living past a blur of formalities. Aries smiled slyly, your parents beam with the pride, and the Jeons laugh with promises of another visit soon. But as they walk out, Jungkook lingered behind, his gaze never leaving you. And just when you thought he would leave without a word, he turned sharply and grabbed your wrist, pulling you into a shadow hallway. When? Jungkook? Jungkook, did you even miss me? Or did you move on that easily? When? Don't do this. Jungkook, don't do what? Pretending like you don't feel anything. Pretending like we are strangers now. When? Maybe we are. He's jokeless, and for the moment you thought he would say something else, but instead he released your wrist, stepping back. Jungkook, fine, if that's what you want. They turned into a blur of preparation. Your house was filled with laughter and the scent of fresh flowers and the constant hum of relatives. Aries' wedding was fast approaching and everyone seemed caught up in the excitement. Everyone expects you. Maybe this was for the best, you told yourself. Maybe it was time you buried whenever was left between you two. Or maybe you were just lying to yourself. Late one evening while you were in your room struggling to pack out jewelry for Ari, a light tap on your window startled you. You turned, your heart racing, and saw a familiar figure standing on the balcony. You hesitate, but the longing was stronger than your pride. Unlocking the window, you step aside and he slid in. His black leather jacket and messy hair making him look as dangerous as ever. When? What are you doing here? You whispered, trying to sound annoyed. Jungkook, I couldn't stay away. Not when I know you are hurting too. When? Hurting? Jungkook, you are the one who walked away. Jungkook, you never give me a chance to explain. Jungkook, we were both stubborn. We let a misunderstanding run everything. When? You mean you did? I was ready to listen. You chose to disappear. Jungkook, I was scared, Ryan. Scared of what loving you could mean. Scared of losing you. When? And you lost me anyway.